In this video, you'll see the maiden voyage of the flat car and tank car on Train Mountain Railroad. We took the Green Goose, the other flat car, and this flat car down to Train Mountain, and after the snow and rain subsided, we went out on the high iron for the maiden voyage. We also played the train game, which I'll describe a little bit later. So welcome aboard. Let's take a ride. Tank car. Looking good so far. This is the maiden voyage of the tank car going down the line. This is called Panama Canal. You can see why it's a big cut in the hillside. Here's signs for the Burma-Shave. Distance. These signs used to dot the American highways. Big wooden signs along the freeway to make the ride a little more enjoyable. So somebody set these up along the line side here so you can look out for those when you're going down the track. There's a train on a bridge waiting for a signal that will never come. That bridge was intended to cross the highway, but the highway mandated that it had to hold a 10-ton truck. We don't run trains that heavy, and there's no reason to build a bridge that heavy, so they kind of gave up on it for now. There's the other leg of that same track that would go over to Caboose Ridge over on the north side of the property. But never say never. It's always a possibility. These signs blindside give you an idea of where you're at, the milepost and the grade. So if for some reason you get an issue, a breakdown or something, you can call for help. You can tell them exactly where they are, where you are, and they can come and find you. It's also good for engineers because you can see what kind of grade to expect. With a heavy train, you might need to approach slowly to tip over the hill so you don't run out of brakes. Coming up on a junction, they have remote switch stands so you can stop and select your route ahead of time. We're going to continue down this route. mostly downgrade from here to the meadow. Here's my perspective on the goose. Here's my controller. Got my light switch there, throttle here, directional control and horn. I'm flying my extra flags, denoting an extra train that's not on the timetable, and the flying goose mascot right up front, leading the way, bravely withstanding the elements. There's some fun blindside details here. We'll take you down to Lillyville and do a walk around there. Coming up on another junction point. And we will wave to the cameras. In case there's traffic in the junction. So we're going to look to make sure the line is clear. We've heard rumors that there's a large bobcat just down the hill from here, so maybe we'll get a glimpse of some wildlife if he's not too scared. Katie will be our bait. She's going to take off running as soon as she sees the cat, and we will film the cat and her running. We also have to keep a lookout for red flags or issues ahead. We're always checking the switch points to make sure they're aligned correctly with the route we want to go and the handle and the target correspond. We're looking for trees down or uneven track, stop trains or flagmen. All the same things you'd look for on a regular railroad. It's the town of Deadwood. This town doesn't have any sidings. Most of them do. Still a little bit cold here. Got down into the 20s last night. In the daytime it warms up significantly with the sun, but this is about our only day to run this week. A few days ago it snowed in the morning and it stayed cold all day. It's not real great to run these battery-powered locomotives in those kind of conditions. Lumpy track. The tree roots like to grow on top of the right-of-way because there's a polyplastic barrier and then the ballast and then the track. So those roots come up through the barrier and they love all that moisture because it just channels it right to them. And they tend to grow upward, so you'll find lumps in the track. So occasionally we'll have to remove a track panel, dig it out, remove the root, and then relay the track. So we helped with that this morning. There's a group called the Wonder Bread. crew goes out and does that kind of thing. And we're going over a bridge. Here's the north portal, south portal. South portal to the north side, that's what it is. And it looks like this switch is aligned to a direction we don't want to go. That's probably a pine needle dumping. So we're going to use the combination of electric engine braking and handbrake. Now we're lined for the main route. Off we go. And we're checking switch points to make sure they're aligned correctly. If there's debris or slop in the switch mechanism, that rail won't come against the main rail. And if you split the switch, that's often a result of those rails not aligning correctly. You go right in between, and the train will try to decide between the two tracks. Oftentimes it won't do either. So there's what used to be known as burn pit. They dump all their pine needles in a huge pile over there and burn it. But now they're not allowed to burn at this location. So eventually they'll just mulch those up. People come along the railroad and rake all the pine needles, and then they dump them in that spot. There's Rio Grande. We're going to go to that line. There's a big junction in the form of a circle down here. So you get into the circle, kind of like a roundabout, and you choose the branch that you want to follow. These are the bottom ends of the Y at that burn pit that I just showed you. You can come down and take either direction. You can head back up the hill on this leg, or you can continue down to the north portal loop, or south portal loop, whatever they call that. These are spring switches, so we're allowed to run through those without lining them. Okay, and I can see that the lever is aligned for the intended route, so we're just gonna blow a little warning whistle here and enter the loop. This loop is double track, so you can go either direction on the double track main. There's a shoving platform there. And this one is aligned for the left route. We want to go the right hand route. Couple of obligatory bell rings. We're looking to see the line is clear. The top signal refers to dog walk, which is a straight route, and we're not going the straight route. So we're going to use the bottom signal, which is dark. Normally you would treat that as the most restrictive it can display. I don't know what that would be, but there are no other trains on this part of the line. So we're going to ease our way in here. There's a place to get water if you're running a steam locomotive. Those are functional. Well, that one's not, but it does have a functional hose. Some of them are actually functional water towers. This switch operator is unique. You can throw it from either side. This is another converging track. We want to take the left route, otherwise we stay in the loop and we just go in circles. At night, you don't know that until you pass it about 4 times. And we're looking at the points and they are correctly lined. And we still have a train behind us with our Orange Crush tank car. Sadly, we don't have any Orange Crush on board. But we can fix that. We know where it's made, where we can find some. Okay, Rio Grande, here we go. Some more signs here. There's the line we came down on. This curve is tight, so you have to keep a special lookout for any stopped trains. During the meet, sometimes people switch at the yard just on the bottom of this hill, and it's common to have 2 or 3 trains backed up behind them. And we've got some authentic flange squeal back there on the rusty rail. This is a common location for switching moves. You can drop things off at the refinery or this other siding here. The main here has been upgraded to steel on plastic, which is really nice. A lot of this used to be aluminum on plastic or even aluminum on wood, and those are less stable, especially with all the frost action in the soil here. Here's a critter. Wildlife. First head we've seen all day. We know they're out here though. There's a game called the train game where you can select a switch list and they'll assign you something like that car there. It has a unique number, an identifier, and a GPS locator, so you can come down and pick that car up and deliver it to its next destination, and you get credit for that in points that are good for not much of anything but bragging rights. The signs are instructing us to stop and see Lillyville, so let's do that. Let's boogie down this way. We're going to go up a grade here that goes up and over the track that we'll end up entering Lillyville on. Increase our throttle just a little bit to compensate for this hill. Now we're working a little bit now. crest of the hill. There's Lillyville in all of its glory. We'll go down and walk around there for a little bit. If you're running a real train, right about now you'd be setting air. Full-size trains tend to roll really easily downhill. Any slight downhill and a full-size train is going to roll faster and faster unless you do something about it. Or unless it's long enough to bridge that gap and be on an uphill on the tail end. Nice little depot. The crossing circuit. We have the luxury of full-size crossing signals. There's the Rio Grande caboose. They even have a siding. They're going to do tours in that caboose. And Katie's offered to do some upholstery work for them. So we're going to clean up the seats that are there and reconstruct the ones that are missing. Oh, wildlife. Look at them go. A lot of them use the buildings as shelter. You can see the piles of pine needles. Those have been raked up, and the crew will come along and collect those in big bins on rail cars and use the rail cars to ship them back to that location that we looked at earlier. So the trains here are used for more than just fun. They're used to maintain the property. They also have full-size tractors and gators and things like that, but for the railroad-based activities like ballasting and things like that, they just use their trains, just like the full-size. Now we've come full circle. Here's the line that we went over just a minute ago. There's another train game car. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to open the app and see where that's supposed to go. I'm going to back into the siding here, get off the main. So I got to pull clear of that switch, and then our brakeman will reach back and switch it, hopefully. Yeah, you can just kick it. Okay, coming back. is a fairly long train for this little goose. Okay, I'm just going to stop here, clear the foul, and check out where this car is going. So there's the solar panel that runs the brains of the car. So I think it's MW103. Let's see if there's any other. No, that's, oh, Train Mountain 2603. I think that's the number. So we'll look that up real quick. Stretch. All right, we got him. Okay, we ended up taking the job, so we've tied this car onto our train. It goes to Rio Grande, which we just passed, so we're just going to find a way to navigate there. I'll take you on a quick walk through Lillyville. There's the mine and the bunkhouses. All kinds of stuff. There's a bunch of outhouses ready for deployment over there. Stables. Here's downtown. The cemetery way off in the back. Looks like we have a camera on site too, and a donation box. But the detail is just amazing on these buildings. The wood shop's done a really nice job with them. Okay, let's hit the road. Time's ticking. All right, conductor, are we ready? The line is clear. Oh, I can feel the weight. Coming up on an area called G-ville, which is G-scale. There's a giant G-scale train layout here. Some tracks have been torn up and relocated, but there's still a fair number of it down here. There's a layout table. There's a fair number of pine needles that have to be sorted out when they run down here, but it's fun to see. They have trains of all different sizes. It also seems to be where switch stands go out to pasture. There's a little maintenance depot. There's some of the layout. They have, you can see it goes all the way back to that hill there. There's a pond on the other side and some tunnels and bridges. Quite the thing. We've seen people run that during triennial. Okay, this switch stand is lined for the movement where we want to go, and there's nobody approaching. This is all single directional track down here. If this switch was lined to the left, we'd continue around this big loop. We want to go off of the loop. So we're going to cross over the diamond. They call that rattling the diamond because they make a rattling noise when you go over them. Still some pine needles on the tracks here. 2.29% grade as indicated by the sign. Still good traction, even with these lighter weight batteries. Mostly because I'm sitting on the driving wheels. But we have a little tricky spot up here at this junction where we have to slow down and get a switch. And there's a fairly steep grade coming out of it, so we'll see what happens up there. We may need a little kickstart. Sadly, we don't have sanders equipped on the Goose. So we've got a green signal up here. Yeah, we're gonna have to get that switch. Let's see if I can get it on the fly. Nobody coming. There we go. We had a fast brakeman who ran out and got it for us. That way we didn't have to stop on this grade. Here we go. Points are in good position and back into the loop here. And it's probably still lined from the last time we went through from the other direction. Yep, sure enough. There's that big loop that we came down on the first time, so we'll just back onto the Rio Grande line. Regenerate a little bit of electricity going down this hill. Got a nice heavy train now. Check it out, full train. Oh, I didn't go far enough. Can't do that in real life. Bumpy on the frog there. Ooh. What's going on there? Oh. We've completed the move. Dropped the car off, chalked the wheels, told the transponder that we've completed it, and now we've earned our little train bucks. And with that, that concludes this episode. Thanks for following the flat car tank car build. We've gotten through this whole switch move without any issues. It seems like the suspension and everything is working just fine. So we're quite pleased, and we're quite cold. I think we're going to head back up the hill. Around 4:30 in the afternoon, we congregate in the back shop. Some people call it Beer 30, other people just drink soda or water. It's mainly a social hour. It gives us the opportunity to catch up on things and pitch new ideas. It takes a tremendous number of people to maintain this railroad, 30-some miles of track with all the infrastructure associated with it. So it's a great chance to catch up with people and see what they're up to. Our good friend Carl came along that afternoon, so we met him there, caught up with him on his day's journey to Train Mountain. Carl receives either the most blame or the most credit for getting me into the 7.5-inch gauge hobby. He was the one that invited us there, And at first I thought, well, you guys look silly riding on those little trains. But within a few minutes I was trying to figure out how to build one myself. So he helped me build the goose alongside his own in his shop. Here you see me bringing Carl back to Grand Central Station on the back of the train.